You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host, Keith Angle, on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Very impromptu, guys. Welcome to TGI Sports Talk. Sunday Stream of Consciousness, a bit of an impromptu show, and we're going to wing it. As you can see with our music, as you can see with our intro, we're going to wing it and have some fun today. We'll see who joins us. I'm just getting caught up on the topics of the day as I've been away in New York. Early birthday celebration. Monday is the 23rd anniversary of my 39th birthday, and we were at Kenny Chesney watching Kenny, Old Dominion, Carly Pierce, another group I'm not so crazy about, but we had some fun yesterday. So hopefully everybody's having a great weekend. We'll try to catch up on some of the hot topics around the world of sports. Fernando Tatis obviously getting suspended for 80 games, and his explanation is absolutely atrocious. Maybe we'll talk about the Mets and DeGrom yesterday. I want to get into your title or your topics as well. McCullers pitched great for the Astros yesterday. We'll go around the league a little bit. NFL too. We'll probably stick to Major League Baseball, the NFL maybe. I know Kenny was in and wanted to talk a little bit about. There's good morning. Hey, good afternoon. We're running a little late. I guess you're still morning though, Carlos again. Alan, you're still in the morning. So good morning to you. If Kenny comes on, I know he wanted to talk a little bit more about the Oklahoma situation and Coach Gundy. Cal Gundy? Is that right? Is that the right name, Alan? We'll talk about that situation. My take has changed a bit, at least part of it. But we can talk a little bit about that, too, if Kenny comes in, because I know he was on the show this morning. Congratulations, by the way, to Ian Kensler being inducted into the Rangers Hall of Fame yesterday. I thought the other note you sent me was probably more important, Alan, that the Rangers had lost 9 straight to the Mariners. Isn't it with a C, though, isn't it? I think it's Cal Gundy, isn't it? Anyway, it can't be Kale. My wife's trying to get me to eat kale all the time. Anyway, we had a great weekend. So, guys, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You'll see us maybe, depending on how the show goes, replayed on Roku tomorrow morning at 11:30. We'll decide whether we'll play this or we'll play more of the college football huddle replay. So we'll see how it goes. And if it isn't totally atrocious, because I'm totally unprepared today, but we can wing it. We've wung it before. Not good grammar, I know, but we'll see who pops in. I know Alan's raring to go. They broke the streak last night. All right, okay, cool. I didn't see all the scores yesterday. I do know the Mets won. I know the Yankees beat the Red Sox after a horrible loss again Friday night. You know, we're going to jump around here a lot today. And the Yankees Friday night was kind of indicative of how they've been going lately. Holmes is not pitching well in the 9th inning. They don't score enough runs to really give themselves any kind of cushion to give that bullpen a blow. Chapman, who's pitching much, much better, is probably going to start seeing more 9th inning opportunities again, in my mind. So we'll see what happens there. The Mets did get a win yesterday after losing Friday night to the Phillies. So a big series there. 7-4, Seager with his career high 26 home run. He has had a much better couple of months here since his start. He got off to a very sluggish start. And I know that he did get named to the All-Star team, if I'm not mistaken, right, Alan? And also having a very good year. So look at nice pickup for the Rangers, as we've talked about. But, you know, those kind of splashes you usually make when you're ready to contend, and this team is not. So anyway, great night in the Meadowlands last night, by the way. I'm never happy to step foot in the Meadowlands because I have to see all these Giants banners and even one for the Jets. And Kenny gives away Giants and Jets helmets to little kids at the end of the concert, and it was a long day, 7 hours. We got there at 4 o'clock. Concert started at 5 and wrapped up right around 11. So long day for yours truly. And then we drove home this morning after staying in wonderful East Rutherford, New Jersey overnight. Not to. I don't mean to put anybody down in New Jersey, but not one of my favorite places. Back to baseball. Look, at one thing I definitely want to talk about is the Fernando Tatis situation. We'll stay on. Don't get wrapped up, and we'll jump into the NFL in a little bit, Alan. But let's not get too wrapped up in how they look. We can talk about the Cowboys if you want. We can talk about the Patriots. Patriots have some issues that I can see in camp, but I'm not getting too worked up over the performance I saw out of the Patriots on Thursday night against the Giants, losing the game. So what? I mean, if there was any starter in the game that I remember seeing, it was Malcolm Butler might have been the only starter I saw for the Patriots. And I just, these early preseason games I can't get worked up on. We will talk a little bit about Tom Brady. I want to get some people's opinion on Tommy, getting a little 10-day vacation here in the middle of training camp after he's already had a few days off. I've been getting ripped a little bit on Buck sites because I think the reasons that they are surmising he's taking this 10-day leave, which everything that I can find is not accurate. There's no illness in Tommy is not sick. Tommy's not hurt. There's nobody in Tommy's family that is this wasn't left for family illness, what I can see. And if it is, I will apologize for the comments that I've made the last 2 days. But I don't think that's the case. What do you got here, Carl? God, what is it with you, Alan? I guess because I think you've replaced Carlos as the number one commenter, which is a good thing, Alan. So keep doing it. Young kids have contributed a lot. Cowboys that's the same thing I put up before. Young kids have contributed a lot to the Rangers, as you said. Don't get too wrapped up in the Cowboys yet, but Dak Prescott has nowhere to throw the football. But we'll talk about that going forward. We are talking about, yes, I was just going to bring this up to you. So I could do this the week before or a few days before the Bills-Rams opener. I do want to do something with you. I think what we'll do, Alan, I'm not sure whether we want to do it live just because of my own bandwidth and time. We may record it and play it, plausibly live, I guess. It's hard to do with, and in that scenario, sometimes I like the comments. How I play off the comments and it makes this show go. But in that scenario, it might be better to do it recorded because I'm get through everything and don't get rushed. I know when I do the preview show with Drew on Major League Baseball, we get a little rushed sometimes at the end because we're responding to so many comments. So we'll do that. So you get yourself set to do that. You and I will communicate here in the next few weeks. And we'll do that one night during the week would be my guess. As weekends, I've lost. The summer's gone. I mean, I've lost every weekend now through, I don't know, the 10th or something of September. This is what happens. Summers get busy, and before you know it, they're gone. Anyway, let's concentrate a little bit on the. Let's talk about Fernando Tatis. Fernando Tatis and Carlos, who's not with us right now, have made some comments about Tatis getting in great shape. He looked like he'd put on weight. Well, we found out why. Suspended for using performance-enhancing drugs. I don't know. I don't remember the exact one that he used. But, doesn't matter. I mean, he says he didn't know he was taking it, right? What was his exact excuse? Let's just take a look here. I want to see exactly what he said because I posted it the other day. I saw some articles about this has just begun. He's very remorseful, obviously. He didn't know what he was doing. They never know what they're doing. How many guys, only a couple. I talked about this Friday in the Mac and Jack show. Ken Caminiti, maybe Jose Canseco is the only guys I remember coming out and saying they did this stuff. Maybe only Caminiti. He was using Clostebol. It was announced by Major League Baseball shortly before the start of San Diego's 10-5 victory over Washington on Friday. I can't find his comment here, unfortunately. Melvin's, talking about how, he's kind of sticking up for his player. Why stick up for his player? He's put his team now in a very, very difficult situation. They need all the offense they can get. All the moves that this team made, without pitching, they better find some more bats to continue to continue to score runs, or they're not going to win. They're going to win these 10-5 games like they won Friday night. They lost yesterday, I think 4-3 to the same Nationals, who were fielding like a AAA team at best. I'm trying to find Tatis's comments here. He says he wants to apologize to Peter, who's the, he's apologizing to the team, obviously, the entire Padre organization, my teammates, Major League Baseball, fans everywhere for my mistake. I have no excuse for my error. Thank you for saying that. And I would never do anything to cheat or disrespect this game I love. Oh, God. Yes, but the fact remains you tested positive. How do you explain it? You know the rules. You know the things you can take and that you can't take. And he says, well, if I known it was banned, I wouldn't have taken. How many times we've heard that from Major League Baseball players? I go all the way back to, you remember Rafael and Alan, you may not remember this, but I go back to Rafael Palmeiro during the drug trials, not drug trials, but the drug hearings, the steroid hearings before Congress, stating that, he had teammates, and it might have been, I'm trying to think of the shortstop the Orioles had at the time, Miguel Tejada, injecting what he thought was B12 in his butt. Well, who do you let put a shot in your butt? First of all, you let your teammate do it? How about a doctor? And second of all, you don't know what he's putting in you? I thought it was B12. Listen, we get a lot of this stuff. Guys, they know what's going on. These the stuff you're trying to sell, I'm not buying. You made a mistake. You owned up to it. You should continue to do that. Don't say, oh, I apologize for letting my team down, and then make 18,000 excuses about why you got caught red-handed with performance-enhancing drugs in your system. I don't understand it. 80-game ban, correct? Oh, yeah, ringworm. That's right, too. He was taking it for ringworm. Thank you, Carlos. Or, God darn it. Alan, change your name. Change your name, Carlos. I'm done. Yes, he says he's taking it for ringworm, and he didn't know that it would, contain anything that would be banned by Major League Baseball. Certainly, he didn't know it would be tested. Look, it just doesn't ring true. Read the rule book, right? Same thing with gambling and everything else. Palmeiro was a great player. He was not probably a Hall of Fame caliber player without steroids. We talk about Barry Bonds. We talk about Roger Clemens. And look, these guys were Hall of Famers without steroids before they started taking steroids. I wouldn't say Rafael Palmeiro, who was a great player, a very good player, would have been Hall of Fame worthy without the steroids. But, look, probably Tatis took it trying to get himself healthier faster. I mean, it's not a coincidence. The guy's out there with an injury, trying to get healthy to get back in a pennant race, and is looking to take a shortcut. Do I know that for a fact? No. But again, like all other things, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Occam's razor says the simplest answer is almost always the right one. Look as hard as you want for explanations, but usually the simplest one is the one that plays out. He was trying to get healthy faster and got himself caught up in this little quagmire now. Joey Gallo. The Gallo curse, It is very possible if the Yankees figure out a way to beat the Astros that the Yankees and Dodgers play in a World Series, and this is going to be a very interesting situation for me if Joey Gallo comes up big in that series in a couple of spots. Permero was replaced by Mark Teixeira when he left Texas, oddly enough. Why oddly enough, Carlos? I'm curious, because I don't believe Teixeira was caught up in any of the steroid allegations. And maybe he was, but I just don't remember it. So, listen, guys, Tatis, knucklehead. Another guy just doesn't get it. What else is going on around the world of baseball? Let's just take a look around the standings real quick. I do have some NFL stuff I want to talk about, but we'll go around Major League Baseball a little bit, and then we'll look at some of the bigger stories. The Yankees do get a win finally against the Red Sox yesterday after blowing a horrible game Friday night, as I said, and Holmes gets another 9-inning implosion and loses that game. Still leading the Toronto Blue Jays by 10 games. Blue Jays have leveled off a little bit since they got hot, but I believe they still lead the wild card race in the American League. Nope, they're going to be behind the Mariners. Sorry. I think I said that the other day. Tampa Bay. Look, this is going to be an interesting race between Toronto, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, either Minnesota or Cleveland or the White Sox, probably for 2 of the 3 wild card spots. I'm going to pencil Seattle in, even though it's not a big lead. I think those other teams, and maybe the Red Sox, we'll see. They still remain, remember, 3 games under 500. I'm not even sure I can call the Red Sox or the White Sox really contenders yet. White Sox have won 2 in a row, but this has been their MO. They're going to win 2 in a row. They're going to lose 3 in a row. They're going to win 3 in a row. They're going to lose 2 in a row. So we'll see what happens there. The Guardians do continue to lead the Twins by a game and a half. The Twins have not played well since the trade deadline, and the Guardians actually have, as we talked about, very few moves made by the Indians, which is a little bit surprising as well as they have been playing. So it'll be interesting to see. And believe me, there's still waiver moves that can be made here in the next, what do we got, 16 or 17 days before we hit September 1st. If any players that clear waivers can be traded or claimed, and teams could let them go. So there still could be some interesting moves here in the next few weeks. But the Guardians were very conspicuous in moves they did not make, and they've played better baseball since. And the Twins have played worse after trying to remake that bullpen and a little bit of their starting rotation. Also, the White Sox very inactive, and I've talked about this plenty. That they need to make the playoffs. They need to make a splash in the playoffs, or this thing is going to get all blown up. Let's go back to Alan was talking about Mark Teixeira. I believe when Buck was still the manager, I think that is accurate. And to come full circle, Showalter gave Kensler his first break. Listen, I'm not sure that I just wasn't sure about the interesting or oddly enough comment. Maybe it was just something with the wording that I didn't get. I mean, I don't remember him being mixed up in anything to do with steroids. Alan likes the Mariners, Blue Jays, and Twins to get the wild card spots. Let's look back real quick while we'll talk. Excuse my hand because I'm using the touchscreen today because it's much easier when I'm outside here. Let's go right back here and let's look at the American League wild card race before we move to the National League. So the Padres, good grief. I guess basically you could call the Mariners and the Blue Jays in a flat-footed tie. The Mariners technically, in my mind, have they've got a 1-game lead. I guess when you look at it, it's a 2-game lead for the Blue Jays in the loss column. You can't make up losses, right? So the Mariners have 2 more losses than the Blue Jays, so I guess you got to consider the Blue Jays in first place in this race. The Mariners would be I guess technically a game and a half behind because of those 2 losses, or that 2-loss deficit in the loss column. And the Rays have the last spot with a half-game lead over the Orioles, who just will not go away. Again, they made a really great calculated decision, as we've talked about on some other shows, to make the trades they knew might not be fan friendly because of them being in the race, trading a great fan favorite like Trey Mancini, also Lopez having one of the best seasons out of the bullpen in the American League. But they made it thinking they could still stay in this wild card race, and they have done so. They've actually made up ground over these other teams since the trade deadline and trading away 2 of their best players. So the kids continue to perform well. Got to give Brandon Hyde a pat on the back, because I thought he was going to be one of the managers certainly in trouble here earlier in the season, and that has not come to pass. I'm going to have to let you go there, Mac. I'll call you back. Mac McGrath calling me. Hopefully Mac's doing pretty well. What else we got here? The White Sox 2.5 back. 2 games back. The Twins 1 game back, and the Red Sox 4.5 games back. I'm not sure the White Sox and the Red Sox are really in this thing, because they have shown no consistency at all. The Red Sox still under 500. The White Sox, as I said, with that awful, win 3, lose 2, win 2, lose 3, and they just cannot seem to really get any kind of momentum going. And this team is in danger of having it blown up on them if they do not make the playoffs from this point. Before I go on to the National League, Baltimore looking good. Absolutely, Baltimore's looking good. As I said, very surprising what they've been able to do in build for the futures. They made some really, really good trades and continue to stay in this race. Not an easy balancing act to keep, and they've done very well. The Mariners have Logan Gilbert today, who's had a very good year. That's a good pitching matchup. You forgot to mention the other day when Perez got lit up, though, Alan, in some of your back and forth with me. I missed that message about him getting lit up the other night. I don't remember who they were playing. Yeah, it's escaping me who they were playing, but whatever. Anyway, he's having a great year. They still made a mistake. I'll continue to say that. They should have traded him and then gone after him in the free agent market. Kind of silly thing to do. So anyway, let's look at the National League real quick. And we're going to go on to some football after this. I get some interesting comments to talk about with football. In the National League, the Mets, their lead is shrunk by a game and a half over the Braves as they lost to the Phillies on Friday night. They did win yesterday. The Braves, though, have gone on a 5-game winning streak since having a really tough stretch against the Mets and having that lead grow to 7 games, as we said. Now the Braves are sneaking back in with their pitching a little bit in disarray. Max Fried out for a little bit with concussion protocol. They sent Ian Anderson to the minor leagues earlier this week, local product here in my area. And we hope to have Ian on for an interview at some point. And the Phillies hanging back, 10.5 games back, but they're certainly a major force in this wild card race, as we'll talk about. The Marlins have imploded here as we've started, the stretch run. I keep saying I thought the Marlins would gel here in the second half, and it certainly has not come to pass. The Cardinals, half-game lead still over the Brewers. The Cardinals have cooled off a bit after winning 7 or 8 games in a row here into last week, taking the division lead by as much as at least a couple games over the Brewers, who have been on a really bad streak. I mean, in the last 10, you got the Cardinals 7-3, the Brewers 4-6, but it's even worse than that if you go back further. The Brewers are getting some heat for not making the right types of trades to compete this year, not getting a bat that they desperately need, while Brandon Drury, right in their division, moved on. Wilson Contreras stayed with the Cubs. A couple of, bats that come to mind that they could have used. They could have used a Joey Gallo to take a flyer on. Listen, I'm no as Alan knows, and you, my listeners know, I'm no Joe Gallo fan, but this is not something that I would have passed up on if I was the Brewers. You could have taken a shot. The Dodgers now have, they've been getting a decent return from Gallo. I mean, is it great? No, but at least it's a little bit better than what he's been doing with the Yankees. And the Dodgers just keep winning. Maybe they're never going to lose again. 12 in a row. The lead over the Padres is 17. Guys, Mark Mancini, a freaking guest on this show, and we'll certainly talk to him about it next week. I do understand, as a Yankee fan especially, I tell you, with a 10-game lead, doesn't matter. October's what matters. Winning those 12 games for the Yankees in October is what's going to matter. Well, the Padres are probably going to have to win 14 games to win the World Series. I do not see this team winning. Maybe they win in the wild card round. Maybe they don't. I don't see them getting past any further than that, though, if they should get out of the wild card round, because the pitching is not going to stand up. Good pitching beats good hitting every time, guys. Every time. And let's just take a quick look at the Giants, by the way, have snuck back to within a game of 500, but 23 games out of first. What a difference a season makes, right? A few less teams involved in this race in the National League. It's really 4 teams, as I see it now. I do not think the Giants are in this race. It's 6.5 games back, but the Braves hold a 5-game lead over the Phillies, basically, who have the second spot, and they have a half-game lead over the Padres, and the Brewers would be 1 game out of the playoffs if it started today, behind those Padres for the last spot. And you could say the Cardinals, again, would be in this race as well. We don't see them in the wild card standings because of where they're in first place right now, so we don't see it. And where's my StreamYard? Okay, there we are. So let's see what kind of comments we got here. Kenny's here. Good to see you, Kenny. Where are we? Carlos is here. Hello to Carlos. Well, I'm just on the National League, Carlos, you should say. So we're just talking about the National League now, so you can certainly jump in. I just went through some of that, Carlos, so jump on. Kenny, we'll get some comments here, and I'll come back to you, Carlos. Houston, I think. I'm not sure what that was about. Phillies looking good with their youth men. Look at the Phillies. We talked about this on Friday, right? And then we got into a little heated debate about, bringing kids, putting into a pennant race. But, the comparison with where the Yankees are or the Mets are and where the Phillies were when they brought up all these kids is night and day. Phillies were going nowhere. The Phillies were trending in the wrong direction. The Phillies had fired their manager. Phillies didn't have good options to fill the holes that they had. Neither the Yankees or Mets, for that matter. But you also have a winning chemistry that you can't mess with, and you don't throw kids who are unproven into the middle of a pennant race, which I'm not going to get into that entire debate again. But the Phillies are a little different situation. They injected some energy. The trade for Marsh has been a very good trade for the Phillies because it's given them a much better defensive center fielder who can cover a lot of ground and cover up some of their other ills there. But again, very poorly put together team, the Phillies. And if they do win, it'll be a feather in the cap for Rob Thompson. I think Rob Thompson's done enough to this point, unless his team totally implodes, to keep this job full time. And I'm very, very happy to see that. Rob Thompson spent a lot of time in the Yankee organization, third base coach, bench coach. He's a baseball lifer, and he's a guy who deserved this shot. And I'm very happy to see him doing well. This afternoon, Phillies last game with the Mets will be tough. Who they got? Who's pitching today? Did they get Scherzer on Friday? I don't know who pitched Friday night. I know they got DeGrom yesterday, and DeGrom was lights out yesterday again. Hungover? No, Kenny. I had I had a few beers at lunch yesterday, and I had one. I think I had one beer at the concert last night. It was too hot in the very beginning. We were in the sun. And once I got myself overheated, I could not get myself cooled down. So it was kind of water and hydrating the rest of the day. So it was kind of a, as far as that part goes, a mild night. But it was a great concert, I got to tell you. The energy level in the Meadowlands was amazing. Not an easy place for me to sit, believe me, being the home of the Jets and the Giants. But the concert was amazing. Old Dominion was tremendous. Kenny, I like Kenny Chesney. But Old Dominion's really who I was there to see, and it was a lot of. It was a great day, a great night, and a beautiful night. Once the sun went down, the sun was in our face, and once the sun went away, it was awesome. What do the Yankees and Cowboys have in common? I'd love to hear that. Let's see. I would say they're the two most valuable franchises in sports, probably, but I don't think that's where you're going here. I'm not sure. You're going to have to fill me in on that one, Kenny. Dodgers will hit bumps. They're so injury prone. Well, you say that, but what are they, where the major injuries been this year so far that they haven't been able to overcome? You can't say what ifs, right? I heard what ifs. We can't sign Aaron Judge because he's going to get injured. Did I miss Aaron Judge getting injured? That's why you can't. Conjecture is dangerous. I'm not going to tell you the Padres are going to beat the Giants the Padres are going to beat the Dodgers because they're bound to have injuries at some point. Dodgers are winning this division for fun, number one. So unless they lose, 3 major players in the postseason, this team is going to be in the postseason and probably be the prohibitive favorite to win it all. I'm not saying they will. I still like my Braves pick to get back. My Braves pick wasn't a pick. Sorry. My Brewers were the pick to get to the World Series and win it. So that wasn't very good. But a few weeks ago, look at my rankings right now in the National League as far as chances of getting to the World Series. The Padres still are behind the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Braves. And I can put the Dodgers at number 1, and you can put the Braves and Mets in whatever order you want. Braves need to stay on their toes and be wary of the Phillies. Yes, the Phillies are within striking distance of the Braves. The Braves are playing much better baseball, as they said. 5 games ahead now, or 5 games in a row they've won. Some pitching issues there going on, as I mentioned, with Fried out on concussion protocol. He may only miss a start. I don't know what the deal will be there. They sent Ian Anderson out to the minors to try to straighten out his issues. And that's a big loss. Ian Anderson was not the ace of this staff necessarily, but he was a big contributor to this World Series victory last year. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Sorry, Alan. I lost track of where my comments are. I lost track of our conversation there a little bit. So very good call. They did get lit up, and you did forget to make mention of it to me. Philly lost Harper to injury, then they dropped Didi. Okay, I don't know that had any effect on them positively. Maybe getting rid of Didi, because Didi's not the player he was 3 years ago, certainly 4 years ago with the Yankees. He's had some injury issues, and he's up there now. But he was a really good player for a while. I'm not sure that the Phillies have a better replacement for him, and Harper certainly didn't help the Phillies. When Harper comes back, he's probably not going to play in the field, which will not help him, as he's now outside of Marsh, who they just acquired. He's their best defensive outfielder, and they need that. I don't know what that means. Guys are top rated. Anybody can hit a fastball. I can hit a fastball. Maybe not anymore, but, it's curveballs and off-speed pitches that give people trouble. Scherzer and DeGrom. Listen, that's it. Nobody can win with just a fastball. Nobody. You put Bob Feller and Nolan Ryan out there, they don't win without some kind of off-speed pitch, whether it be a slider, or a changeup, a curveball, or many of it. Hello there, Rick Sherlock. Good to see you with us here this afternoon. Sorry we're on late today, but we didn't get home until about 11 and had to relax, take care of a few things, and hopefully I'm glad you guys are with us, and we'll talk about a few things. Rick, we can back up if there's anything. We've covered basically baseball. We did talk about Tatis. If you guys who have come in late, want to back up and talk about Tatis before I jump to the NFL at some point, we can certainly do that. Bassett's on the hill. Okay, Bassett's pitched well recently too. He's been a good pitcher for the Mets. His record probably doesn't reflect, I don't think, as well as he's pitched. Maybe he's up and down a little bit, but I think he's been a good pickup for the Mets. They're like breaking fans. Oh, they like breaking fans' hearts, the Yankees and the Mets. Listen, they got 27 world championships that, just saying. 28 world championships heals my broken heart very quickly. And I move on. Am I happy with the Yankee results? No. Yankees and Cowboys, similar. I will give you that, Kenny. I will give you that because they're two of the marquee franchises in sports. But the Cowboys don't have anywhere near the history of winning that the Yankees have. They don't have anywhere near the history of winning that the Patriots have. So, but you're right. And the Cowboys are going to break people's hearts again this year. And we'll debate that with Alan at some point. Well, there you go. There's another thing you have in common. As I said, probably the two richest or franchises that are worth the most amount of money in baseball. The Yankees haven't won in, by the way, 13 years. One World Series since 2003. They've been in 2. Unbelievable. 13 years. 13 years for the Yankees. Kenny, 2009 they won with Girardi being the manager. A-Rod had a great year. Hideki Matsui was tremendous in the playoffs that year, but that's still way too long if you're the Yankees. This isn't the Kansas City Royals. This isn't the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is the New York Yankees. 13 years between World Series appearances, much less winning, is awful. Padres game Friday, 7+ hits in 6 innings. I'm not sure where you're going there, Carlos. Help me out a little bit. We had a lot of comments here. Dodgers, Braves, Cardinals, Phillies, Padres in the NL. So you get I guess you get the Mets, Phillies, and Padres getting the wild cards. Yeah, the only place I would lose out there from my preseason picks would be the Cardinals swapping out the Brewers. I did have all those other teams in the playoffs and winning. Oh, that's very sad. Is that true, Kenny? I did not hear this story. Loved Lenny Dawson when I was a kid, It's funny, probably before I became a Patriot fan, I rooted for the Bills a little bit. I mean, I'm talking about, when I was 8 and 9 years old, 10 years old, become a Patriot fan when I went to my first game in 1971. But I rooted a little bit for OJ. Sorry. And certainly Lenny Dawson was one of those guys. He was getting old by the early 70s, but I certainly always rooted for Kenny and liked to watch those old Chiefs play under Hank Stram. So that's very sad, and our heartfelt prayers go out to Lenny Dawson and his family. Very sad. Used to love watching This Week in the NFL with Lenny Dawson and Nick Buoniconti. Who remembers that on HBO? Great. They did a great job. Not with all the bells and whistles they have today, but I thought the show was much better then. Fastball, maybe 52. Me? I was in the batting cages last summer, and I was hitting fastballs in the 70s. And they weren't all line drives, but I was making pretty good contact in the mid-70s, which I thought was pretty good for a 61-year-old man who hadn't picked up a bat, by the way, in probably, I don't know, almost 30 years, 25 years at least. 25 years, let's say. Okay, we won't talk about Tatis Jr. I talked about him enough. I don't want to either. I'm tired of talking about guys like Tatis Jr. who lie and cheat and then want us to believe they're crazy freaking excuses. Rick's at Sylvan Beach waiting for my room to get ready at Turning Stone. Awesome. Are you seeing a concert up there, Rick, tonight, or are you just there to give them a little bit of your money and come home? I'd like to go up there and play golf this year, but I haven't had a chance. I thought we were talking about all-time history, not things that began in 2000. No, wait a minute now. Time out. If you're still talking about the Cowboys and the Yankees, I'm talking all time. I'm not sure. Again, I guess I need some context to your comment, Alan. So refer back to this and then tell me what it is we're talking about. Rick's going to be playing Let It Ride. We'll find out whether Rick's going to be a winner or not. We expect to report back on the college football huddle on Wednesday night, which I hope to have. I do hope to get Larry Sorensen on Wednesday night, by the way, to talk about the Wake Forest situation, the Sam Hartman situation, see if we can get some clarity there. And we'll talk more about that with Larry on Wednesday. You got to make it last until Tuesday. Well, maybe here's my suggestion. Stay in your room Sunday night and Monday, and maybe, get up Tuesday morning and hit the tables. He's a druggie, all right. Len Dawson, not Ken Dawson. You probably hit the wrong key, that they're next to each other, Carlos. Great player. Very, in my mind, very underrated. Namath gets all the glory for winning Super Bowl I, and God bless him. Changed the history of professional football. The merger was not a sure thing. It was already well in progress, but it was not a sure thing until the Colts lost to the Jets. So thank you, Joe Namath. But you know what? Lenny Dawson, overall, much better NFL quarterback than Joe Namath. Different game then, too, by the way. Lots of interceptions, low completion percentages, and the game was, I knew what you meant. So anyway, that's all I got for baseball right now, unless you guys have. Let me take a quick look at my, bear with me 1 second here. Let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to chat about. We talked about listen, I will talk real quick about the Field of Dreams game, because they didn't do, and I talked a little bit about it on Friday's show. This thing has already jumped the shark, by the way. Tricked up, miking up players, talking during the game. It's a Major League Baseball game. It's not an exhibition game. It's not an all-star game. It doesn't mean anything. This game didn't mean anything, so I'm not going to get that worked up over it. But if I got two teams in contention next year and we're talking to the players and distracting them when they should be paying attention to the game, then I have a big problem with it. I have a big problem with the fact that the White Sox aren't part of this game. White Sox have to be part of this game every single year that it's played. The whole hologram of Harry Carey, creepy and unnecessary. The visuals are all good. They're going to build a new stadium. Why? I don't care if there's just 7,500 people out there. That's part of the reason we're playing this game, is the ambiance. You're going to wreck it, Rob Manfred. You've already started to wreck it, and in my mind, it's jumped the shark probably already. Some cool moments, yes. The visuals are still great. Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. playing catch on a field. Great moment, because that's what the movie was really about. Fathers and sons. But I just don't. First of all, the White Sox got to play in this game every year. Second of all, we don't need to build, a big stadium to replace the one that they're playing in. You're wrecking something that really had some cool potential last year. I enjoyed it a lot, and there was moments I liked this week, but it's just jumping the shark quickly. This game should be White Sox. Well, not only White Sox, but with an opponent. And I know what you mean there, Carlos. And money. I agree, Kenny. That's it. Because we got to attract the casual fan. Keith's going to watch anyway. Well, guess what? What you don't understand is when you get the casual fan in, so you can advertise to him, you lose the guys like me. And maybe they don't care about me. I'm 62 years old, so I'm not their key demographic, right? Probably should be. But anyway, it's just, look at Rob Manfred and his marketing crew. His fingers are all over these changes that are coming, and I don't want to see it. I do not want to see it. Anyway, I don't know what else you guys got. Let's talk. I want to talk some NFL, and you guys we can talk about whatever you want. I got a topic I want to bring up in the NFL. The first thing I want to talk about is Tom Brady. And I don't know if you guys watched my vlog Friday, but if you haven't watched it, I've been getting ripped in some places, and I'll tell you why. Because there's been no bigger supporter of Tom Brady during his years with the Patriots since he got traded. I don't hold any ill will towards Tom Brady. None. I won't root for him if he's playing for my team, but I won't root against him when he's not. But for Tom Brady to get 10 games off, where he's already had a few days off in training camp, where the rest of his team is out there busting their asses, trying to get focused and ready for a football game, is ridiculous. I talk about leadership all the time, and it's got to come from your quarterback on the field, and now he's turning. And by the way, this is a guy who, if other guys had tried to pull this stuff with the Patriots for years, he would have talked about that you need to be focused, team first. Come to the off-season workouts. Come to the workouts I have privately for the receivers and our throwing camp that we have at my palatial estate. And if you didn't show up, you get chastised. So Tom Brady again, and look, I've had people really getting on me in both Patriot and Buccaneers groups because, first of all, they're trying to tell me that it's for personal reasons because his mom is dying, and from everything that I can find, his mom was sick. We know his mother was really sick with cancer when they beat the Falcons back in February of 2017. She recovered as best she could. She had a bad bout of COVID last year that hospitalized her, but she recovered from that. There are no reports that she's sick. The team itself has said Tom is not sick or injured. None of his family members are injured, or there's no family illness that he's taking this leave for. I mean, it's pretty much been said that he's trying to balance the fact that he's 45 years old. He's got a family with teenagers and balancing things the way that the rest of us need to. But he's an NFL player. He's not, a 9-to-5 guy busting his ass every day who does need that work-life balance. And my argument would be he's making a lot of money. He's got a lot of time off to spend with his family, during the week. He goes to practice and comes home just like everybody else. It's not like Major League Baseball players who are on road trips for weeks at a time. Tom Brady wants to be a leader. So I've had people telling me that it's because when I read these comments, I was ready to make a retraction if I needed to. If he left because of the health of his mom, then God bless him. I would have retracted my statements. But I couldn't find one article on a credible source that says there's anything wrong with anybody in the family, that he simply left because this was a predetermined thing with him and the team, and they knew he was going to be leaving for these 10 days and the previous days that he's taken off. And look at, you should have stayed retired, Tom, if you weren't ready to fully invest in your team's success. I had a Patriot fan in Atlanta who I respect because him and I banter around a lot of stuff, and he talked about how Brady knows what he needs to do to be focused when the season starts. I don't disagree with that, but what about the rest of the team? What about the new players in that offense that he needs to gel with? Not for 10 days, for 4 weeks, and I don't care if he plays in any preseason games. It's got to do with the practice and the reps there, right? And I'll get your comments here in a second. But this has got me worked up. And, again, I was ready to retract my statement if, in fact, I found out there was something wrong somewhere. So let me get to some comments because I do my vlogs and I don't take comments. I record them just so you guys know when those vlogs play. I've already done it and it's not live. It's playing live, but I've already recorded it. So if I don't respond to your, let's see, what we got here. I'm not going to go there. We already got by that. Did you have a birthday today? No, I do not. I have a birthday tomorrow. I'll be 62. It's a 23rd anniversary of my 39th birthday. It'll be tomorrow. So we'll celebrate a little more today and tomorrow. We're going to go out for a little bite in a little while, and hopefully we'll do something fun tomorrow. We don't know yet. If they do like Thanksgiving days, maybe just swap between them. No, why the Cubs? No, the Cubs weren't part of this. Watch the movie. The movie revolves around the White Sox. And then more players show up later on, but Shoeless Joe Jackson and the White Sox. And that's not even really about Shoeless Joe Jackson and the White Sox. It's really about getting Ray Casellas' dad to the field, who he lost when he was a kid, so he could play catch with him. I'm not leaving Tom alone. Nobody's been a bigger supporter of Tom Brady in his career than this guy right here. Defended him to every one of you guys. Told you what a great leader he was. Compared to other guys like Aaron Rodgers and Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson, anybody else you want to mention, that you need to be a leader like Tom Brady. And now Tom Brady is being a hypocrite, and I will not leave Tom alone. No, I'm not going to let it go. I won't see another guy like him, and it doesn't matter. Nothing that we're talking about him, we won't see another Tom Brady. I do not, and I'm not dismissing anything Tom Brady has done for my team or for the Buccaneers. I'm talking about specifically what he's doing for the 2022 Buccaneers, and he's not doing right by his team right now. If the rest of his teammates are in there busting their ass in 100-degree heat, Leonard Fournette's told to get into shape. Again, I understand he hasn't earned anything. Tom Brady, better than anybody, knows that you earn everything you get. And he's lost me a lot. I am rotating between, I'd like to say 61. I'd like to go back to 39, but know what I know now. Yeah, well, how about this? How about Todd Bowles not start showing preference in his first year? Todd Bowles in his first season as head coach of the Buccaneers decides the best way to approach this is give preferential treatment to his quarterback while the rest of his team is in there busting their ass in camp. And by the way, not getting reps with their number one quarterback, which he seems to think and the rest of the team seems to think is okay. This is a recipe for disaster for the Bucs. And if they want to go down this road, what's next? We got a bye week. So, Tom, why don't you take the week off before, the week off after? Come back when you're comfortable. I mean, come on. He should be on the field. And if he wants balance, retire. Listen, I understand, man. No, as well as anybody, work-life balance is important today more than ever. But when it comes to sports, guys, you're compensated pretty well for any lack of work-life balance. And in my mind, football players have a better work-life balance than any of the sports players because they're home 5 days a week. Tom Brady, again, it's amazing to me that I'm on the opposite side of an argument about Tom Brady with Carlos. I have spent 20 years defending Tom Brady against all kinds of BS. He's a cheater. He's a baby. He's a whiner. He gets all the calls. He gets this. He gets that. All baloney and crap. But this I won't let go because you know how important I think. And then maybe that's why you're backing him up, Carlos, because you don't think that you need leadership out of your quarterback. And you do. And leadership is not saying, you know what, I know training camp's 4 weeks, but I only feel like spending 2.5 there. You guys go bust your asses and you guys get ready for the season, and I'll be there when I'm there. Stay home, Tom. I seriously mean that. Or where'd I leave off here? Carlos tells me to let it go. That's pretty funny, Carlos. Yeah. By the way, Carlos, once again, your arguments all fall apart as you continue to comment. Let it go. Let Tom Brady do what he wants. But if Todd Bowles can't get his team organized and Tampa is in deep poo, well, you can't get your team organized when your starting quarterback isn't in camp for half of it. This isn't hard to understand. Oh my gosh. I can't. Tom basically had 3 Hall of Fame careers wrapped into one. The man's 45 and isn't getting younger. His days are numbered, whether he likes it or not. He may not retire due to play, but more likely due to family, which is what he did in February. And then came back and said, "Oh, I can make this work. I still got the drive." But then apparently he worked this out where he'd be able to have this time, more time with his family than anybody else on the team. Bring your family into where camp is. Just frustrated. Yeah, he's the only man that can do what? Play till he's 45 and be this competitive? Absolutely agree. And I don't disagree with the comments I got from the Patriot fan who said Tom will be focused. It's not about Tom. It's about all the guys around Tom. Tom can't win by himself. And if guys aren't on the same page, if Tom and other guys aren't on the same page, Julio Jones has never played with Tom Brady. And if you don't think it takes time to get synced in with receivers and even linemen, and again, you're just not paying attention to the big picture. What has that got to do? So you want to move? First of all, these young guys need junkies. So Tom Brady, first you said let it go. Tom Brady's great, and now you're telling me he's a junkie quarterback. I've told you Zach Wilson's getting better. Now Zach Wilson, by the way, is out 2 to 4 weeks. It looks like whether his status for week 1 is going to be up in the air. I've been telling you since the middle of last year, Zach Wilson's getting better, and the Jets are going to have a very good quarterback on their hands. I told you Friday, I think the Jets will be better than the Dolphins. I have said Daniel Jones has been getting better and better each year. Daniel Jones didn't have a horrendous year last year. Daniel Jones has been done a tremendous disservice by the organization having the guys he's had work with him until now. And Daniel Jones still had a chance to be a decent quarterback. And now you're going to turn it around and tell me they need to play. It doesn't matter. How many games will he miss? All the preseason games, and they don't matter. I just told you they don't matter. And whether he misses games is not important, Carlos. The preparation for the games in the season to come is going on right now. Installing a playbook, getting on the same page with any new schemes that are there and the players that are going to be involved in them, new players that have come into the organization like Julio Jones and God knows who else, because they have had some major turnover. Tom not being there retards their progress. It just does. They are not going to be as ready for opening day as they would be if their quarterback had been there throughout training camp. There is zero way that you can dispute that. Give me one example where a quarterback sat out meaningful parts of training camp and it helped the team. You cannot. There's not one example you can give me. Is that me? I may sound whiny today. I'm tired, but I'm not sure if you're referring to me or not. Alan says the Saints are the dark horse. I'm not buying it, and we will do a little. We will do a little something, as I said, Alan, here in the next week or two. Probably not this week. You got a lot more faith in Jameis Winston than I do. I would have had some faith in Jameis Winston with Sean Payton on a sideline. Sean Payton is nowhere to be found. Well, Tom's apparently only halfback. Again, I'm not sure, Carlos. You're all over the place. You're not sticking to one argument here, and it makes it impossible for me to I know we're on our stream of consciousness, so it's certainly fine that you jump all over the place because I am. But, your argument here that Tom Brady leaving camp is okay doesn't seem to be backed up by anything else you've said here. All right, well, whatever. So whoever's going to play in Julio Jones's place is not going to have any reps with Tom Brady when the season starts. Oh, you said they were junky? Maybe I misread. Let's see. Young guys need to be focused on getting reps. Oh, you need a period there then maybe, because I would have figured out. Like, you missed a word, I guess. I do the same kind of thing. So, all right, I understand now I missed your... And I'll tell you again, you're wrong. So I'll still tell you you're wrong. Those two quarterbacks are going to stick. Well, now Wilson's got an injury. Hopefully it is only 2 to 4 weeks. I think these two players will take a leap forward this year. I really do. We already talked about that. Well, we already talked about that. What happened here? We talked about that. We talked about that. Daniel Jones or junkie. All right, here we go. NFL shooting themselves in the foot. I need some context there. Kenny, I don't disagree. Actually, you know what? I have to give the NFL some props because when it comes to like the Deshaun Watson case, for instance, he gets a six game suspension. I'm not happy that Goodell didn't make the ruling himself, which he had the total right to do, but he decided to send it to an arbitrator. Got 6 games. He could have overruled it himself and put down his own penalty and let the Players Association appeal that. But they decided to stay in this arbiter situation. But I'll give them credit because they are not going to stand for 6 games. I believe the report the other day was that Watson was going to agree to 9 games and a $5 million fine, whatever it was. And then the NFL rejected that because the NFL wants it. They want an indefinite suspension and it being at least a year. And I will stand by my comments. I understand he's played in a preseason game because now maybe the Browns can get the $1 million out of at least $1 million worth of play from him in the preseason. Maybe that's what they're thinking about. But at least the NFL here is looking to get this guy out of the league for as long as they can and cost him as much money as they can. And they're taking the right stance here, I think. So I got to give them some kudos. I think Goodell should have stood up and done it himself. But he did not do that. But they are saying, and I'm going to stand by my comments. Deshaun Watson never plays in another NFL regular season game again. What we got here? I don't need them, though. Here's the thing. I don't need them. I have a better quarterback than both of them. But I'm telling you that there are places that they can play in this league. The swamp is calling. Carlos, stay out of upstate New York. Kenny may have a facial recognition thing somewhere. So be careful. I should stop talking about this. Something's going to happen and the FBI is going to come looking for us. If the Cowboys beat Tampa in week 1, I'm going to laugh. Well, a lot of people will. They might. They might not. All I'm telling you right now is, Carlos, and you still have done nothing. You've given me nothing to back up that argument. Nothing. I'm telling you that the chances of being in the playoffs have been diminished by Tom Brady's actions in preseason by not being there and not going through these dog days with his team. That's how you build camaraderie. That's how you establish yourself as a leader on a team. He's doing nothing to enhance the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' chance of making the playoffs and winning a championship. You give me no evidence except to say it won't matter. It won't matter. It won't matter. What about Aaron Rodgers? This is an Aaron Rodgers type mood. Why do you think I'm all over Tom Brady? I don't know the context you put it up there, Carlos, but this is an Aaron Rodgers type of move out of Tom Brady. I have spent years now saying Aaron Rodgers is not a leader in the same vein as a Tom Brady, and now he's made me had to retract that statement, at least now. Not in the past. I'm not going backwards. They're laughing. I don't know why. Saints quarterback already injured. Who? Winston's hurt. Better catch up on the draft before the started up show tomorrow, or catch up on the news. Yeah, we know. That'll be incorrect, by the way. So you're telling me that these two teams will have two of the five worst picks records, in football this year. Don't see it happening. Both teams will be better. Do I think both teams will make the playoffs? No. Giants are going to finish second in the East. You watch. Jones is only better than one quarterback, Carson Wentz. That is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. Alan, buddy. I don't know. Did Carlos just hack your computer and put this comment up? Mac Jones is not. Look, I'm not telling you Mac Jones is in the top 5 quarterbacks, but he's in the top 14. Let me go through the league here real quick. Hang on. Let's go through the league real quick, and let's go see how many quarterbacks are better actually than Mac Jones today. Josh Allen, 1. Tua, nope. Wilson, nope. Okay, you got 1 there. The Browns, they don't have a quarterback. I'm not counting Deshaun Watson because he's not playing. Lamar Jackson, I'll give you him. Whoever the Steelers quarterback is, nope. Joe Burrow, yes. The Texans quarterback, no. Matty Ice, I'll say yes, but really no. I'm going to say Matty Ice is on, a maybe. Titans quarterback, Tannehill, no. Trevor Lawrence, no. Derek Carr, I'll give him to you, but again, he's with Matty Ice. I'll give you Wilson. There's 6, but 2 are maybes. Herbert, I'll give you him. That's 7. I'll give you Mahomes. That's 8 with 2 maybes. Jones, no. Wentz, no. Hurts, no. Dak, I'll give you Dak. But maybe he needs to win a playoff game here, maybe to convince me a little bit. Or at least move deep into the playoffs one year. That's 9 with 2 maybes. Fields, no. Cousins, no. Goff, no. Aaron Rodgers, 10 with 2 maybes. The Falcons quarterbacks, no. The Panther quarterbacks, no. Brady, yes. There's 11 and 2 maybes. Saints quarterback, no. 49ers quarterback, no. I'll even give you Kyler Murray. That's 12 and 2 maybes. Stafford, yes, 13 and 2 maybes. So right now, I've got him no worse than the 14th best quarterback and possibly the 12th best. Alan, I know Carlos had to have taken over your computer here. Jets, Giants, Bears, Texans, Panthers. Oh, you're talking about the worst 5? Okay. I think the Panthers might do better than that. We'll see. Calling it now. Desmond Ridder takes over for Falcons by week 6. That's fine. I have no problem with that comment. He won't be better than Mac Jones, though, either. Watson to let him be. Yes, because we should let despicable people be and not pick on them so they feel bad and we hurt their feelings. Let him be. Why should I let him be? Why should anybody let any of these guys be, Carlos? Why? Why do we need to go on these shows and let these guys be? Do I think I should be able to go out and berate them in public and throw things at them while they're eating dinner or on the court or on the fields? No, I don't. But to call things like I see them, no, I'm not going to let them be. If you want to look the other way at people's criminal behavior in Watson's case and Brady's lack of leadership for his team, then do it. But don't tell me what to do. He hasn't played a full season already. I'm not sure what that means. Goodell Player Association. He hasn't played a full season. Well, yeah. Well, there you go. I said before last year he would never play again in the NFL in a regular season game, in a meaningful game. Exhibition game. You can say I'm wrong because he played in an exhibition game if you want. We agree with the Goodell and we disagree with the Goodell where it's convenient, right? We agree with him on Brady getting suspended for letting the air out of footballs, but we disagree with him when we say guys should be suspended indefinitely for physically, sexually abusing women. Brilliant strategy and great commentary. If the Cowboys find a field, they might show up to the game. Preseason doesn't build teams. Preseason game. What are you nuts, Carlos? Really? The games don't build. You don't think training camp builds teams at all? You don't think there's anything? So they could just show up on September 6th or whatever opening day is, and they could just throw on pads and go out there and play well. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're saying here. Maybe you don't realize what you're actually saying, but that's what you're saying. It's comical. I mean, I can't make this stuff up, Carlos. Come on. The Browns and Miami and maybe listen, I don't disagree with the commissioner's lack of leadership, Kenny. I mean, and again, these situations have gone on longer than they should. Watson should have just been suspended indefinitely by the commissioner last year. We shouldn't even have got to this point. He shouldn't even got to the point where he signed with the Browns. It should have already been taken care of. I agree with you 100%. The little bit of kudos I'm giving to him is that they're not standing by and just saying, thanks for the 6-game suspension, and we're washing our hands of it. The Miami situation is a joke on many levels. Telling your coach to throw games, tampering with other players, not once, but for like 3 years when he was with multiple teams. Not to mention they chose the wrong person over the coach over the quarterback. I have no idea. What is your distinction here? So all they do is build rosters. That's it. Getting ready for the team, installing playbooks and schemes, that none of that matters, right? We can just show up on September 6th and throw the ball out on the field and we will play tremendous football. Ridiculous. Wentz was an MVP candidate a while back. I've defended Carson Wentz for a while, by the way. And Carson Wentz may very well play this year. I do not rate him above Mac Jones right now, no, but the detractors of Carson Wentz forget that, he finished, I believe, second or third in the MVP voting the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Now, I understand he didn't lead them to that Super Bowl, and Nick Foles did, but the fact remains he had a pretty damn good season, and I can show you that he's had 3 or 4 really good seasons, including last year, by the way, 27-7, I think, touchdown to interception ratio. Now, I know that's not everything. All right, so I did this whole thing for nothing. I would still disagree with you, by the way, but certainly not to the extent that I did. Be clear, Alan. You got to help me out, buddy. I'm going to be 62 tomorrow. You can't. When I'm talking about Mac Jones, you can't put up Jones and and I'm going to think of Daniel. Well, in Allen's defense, we were talking about the wrong player, but I don't think Carson Wentz is better than Daniel Jones. Yes, I'm not going through the same process here again, but I think it's possible that Daniel Jones could be better than Jalen Hurts. Just saying. Tua is better than Mac. In what sense? Did Tua have better numbers than Mac last year? Carlos? How the Dolphins do under Tua's leadership? His accuracy is awful, and you will see very soon that the Dolphins made a bad choice between Coach Flores and Tua when you chose your quarterback over your coach, who had helped this team out of the dumpster pretty much to be a respectable football team. And what does that mean? Did they make the playoffs? Don't remember seeing them in the playoffs. And Tua had help, by the way. Tua didn't win 9 games in a row. Tom Brady didn't win 6 Super Bowls. Tom Brady and the New England Patriots won 6 Super Bowls. A fan of who? Mac Jones? Mac Jones. Listen, I didn't even want Mac Jones to get drafted. But now when I see him, I see the potential here. And I'm not just a fan. I'm a fan of football. I've told you I have no rooting interest in the Jets or the Giants. I want them both to stink. And I'm telling you, both of those teams will be better this year than what you're saying. I'm an observer, and listen. There is nobody harder than me. There's nobody than me harder on my teams. Watch my vlogs. Watch all my shows, Carlos. When I feel I'm right to stick up for my players, I will. I'm such a fan. There's no bigger fan of Tom Brady than me. And I've been sitting here bashing him for the last hour, and on my vlog this week, the last week, Tannehill led the Titans. Don't care. They lost the game because Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback. Sorry, you saw the real Ryan Tannehill in the second half of that game against the Bengals. He's not a second-year player like Mac Jones, and I expect him to grow. He's been in this league for a long time. Are we watching the same football? No, apparently not. You're probably watching Manchester United or something, is my guess, because I'm not sure what you're looking at. Yeah, well, that's what I just said. So I've got him at 14, maybe 12. If again, because Matty Ryan and Derek Carr are question marks in my mind. I'm not sure where the Keith is. Mariota is better than Mac Jones. Couldn't even play. And first of all, in college doesn't matter. We're playing in the NFL, and it's 5 years later, 6 years later, whatever for Mariota. You couldn't even start it over. He couldn't start over Tannehill in Tennessee. He couldn't start over Derek Carr in Oakland. And as Allen said, he may lose his job in Atlanta to Desmond Ridder at some point. Yeah. So you blame, yeah. I look at whatever. Nope, these teams have been playing like trash for about 4 to 6 games, then get better. Don't forget about the name read act. Team formerly known as the Redskins is acceptable. Don't forget the name read act, Dan Snyder being upstart. That's a very good point. Kenny, add that to your list because the Dan Snyder thing is going to explode. And by the way, when this explodes, you're going to find out. And yes, you look at John Gruden and some of those tapes that got released were not pretty, but you're going to find out that John Gruden was put in probably a bad light. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have lost his job, but I think he got a little bit of harsh treatment because I don't think all these tapes are out. We're going to find out at some point when all these tapes come out. He may have a good year paper, but still put his team in bad situations. At times, couldn't beat the Jags in Week 18. He's lucky he had a guy like Jonathan Taylor last year. I don't disagree that Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in football. And yes, they should have been able to beat the Jags and get into the playoffs. I'm just saying Carson Wentz is far from the worst quarterback in football. I know a lot of people think this, including the Philly sports guy, that Jalen Hurts is going to be in it. He thinks he might have been, an MVP, I think, but I do think he can take Philly to a division title. We'll see. You and I are going to talk about that. Giants always stink, I think you mean, or maybe you stink, even when they win a Super Bowl with a bunch of thugs. Mariota's going to get Betch for Ritter. We just talked about that. Very lively today, guys. Maybe we should do the stream of consciousness show later in the day. Once football starts, maybe we'll do it after I get home from watching the Patriots. That ought to make for an interesting 2 hours. I think Carlos has been out visiting the wrong side of town. Where is that comment? I lost it. There it is. Carlos. All right, well, you can think what you want. And when a non-fan, so you're a fan of these teams, I'm not a fan of these teams. And when I'm right and you're wrong, who's going to look silly? The guy who could care less and hope they lose predicts them to do better than the team's fans. Carlos, your fandom is just an interesting dichotomy, I have to tell you. What else is going on? Now, I will tell you this with the Patriots, and I want to wrap this up before an hour and a half, guys, I think, just so that I can use this show in the 11:30 slot tomorrow maybe and not have to play on Roku and not have to play the college football huddle again. So we're going to try to wrap this up in 9 minutes here. So, wait a minute. Again, I don't want to hear about college football games. It doesn't matter. This is the NFL, and it's a totally different situation. Hurts led a 20. So what? So what? Tell me what he's done in the NFL. Lost his only playoff game. Got killed. Doesn't matter at the end of these teams are trash right now. All right. It doesn't matter at the end. It doesn't matter at the end. These teams are trash right now. Okay, so, all right, I'll give you that. They're trash right now. It doesn't matter where they are at the end of 16 games. If they finish 8-9, both of them, you're going to tell me they made no market improvement at all. If one of them competes for a wild card or a division title, in say the Giants' case, because they do step up and outperform expectations, they're still going to be trash. $10 word. I don't know which word that was. Well, maybe. Hurts and Tua will be good backups. So I don't disagree at all, Kenny. All right, guys. One other thing. Listen, and about the Pats, I'll throw this in here real quick, and we got 7 minutes, or less. I want to wrap it up and move on. So, about the Pats are struggling, by the way. I am not very convinced that my team is going to have a very good year either. The reports out of camp are not pretty on the offensive side of the football. We know they still have some holes on the defensive side, which they have not done a tremendous job of filling from what I can see. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward. I'll take a couple more comments here. Do I have anything else? I really don't. I guess I was going to talk about a couple other things, but we covered a lot of the stuff that I wanted to get into, and this was kind of for an impromptu thing, guys. You did a great job. Great. I really commend you guys for your for jumping on here and getting involved as much as you did. Cowboys will keep them in contention. Offense will do just. You know what? Dak's got to have somebody to throw the football to. Is all I can say. Exactly. They should be both 10 wins this year, and they won't be. Well, then I'm not sure, Carlos. If they're trash, how can you say they should win 10 games? Are you telling me the coaching staffs and the organizations are trash, or the players are trash? No, they're not that bad. They're not top 5 pick bad. I hope. I'm a little concerned. I mean, I'll be honest with you. A month ago, I go through the schedule, and I could say I can see this team winning 11 games and certainly being a wild card. I watched some of the stuff that I've seen, been able to get tape on out of training camp and read the daily recaps, and they're not pretty. The offense is in a mess right now. Now there's time to fix it, which is why you have training camp, by the way, Carlos. So the problems that you have now that I'm panicking over for my team, and your number one quarterback needs to be there to be part of it. I don't want to go down this road again because we only got 4 minutes. AFC and the Bills will get. The Bills will certainly be there. Okay, well, that's fair. That's a fair comment, Carlos. And that's why we play the games, to find out. I think you're wrong. Let's remember the guy who's coaching the team is the guy who turned Josh Allen into Josh Allen. Let's not forget that. I'd have to look to I'm not going to say you're wrong because I don't know. Not drinking that Kool-Aid. And Belichick needs to move on. Belichick can move on what he wants. I'm pretty sure he's got 6 Super Bowl rings that says he deserves the right to figure this out. I think Bill Belichick will be here until this team wins a Super Bowl without Tom Brady. Now, maybe Robert Kraft will have other ideas at some point. I just don't think Bill Belichick's walking away on his own without that 7th Super Bowl ring. I'm not forgetting that. He's also been in the league for 3 years. Gotten better every single year. Every single year, he's improved. Okay, you do that. Thank you, Alan. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Thanks for contributing tonight, guys. I'm gonna see what I got to play on the way out here. I had kind of a cool. I don't have my. Here it is, right here. The sound we're gonna play on the way out. It's a little something in my head because I don't have access to the soundboard right here. I went low tech, no microphone, no anything. So hopefully the sound is good. I'll check it out later, and we'll see if it's playing well, and we'll take it from there. So hopefully you guys had a great time in our Impromptu Sunday stream of consciousness show here on TGI Sports Talk, right here on the Northeast Team Sports Network. We'll check you later, and we'll have some fun Wednesday night with our college football party. Hopefully Larry Thornton will be in with us. Mark Mancini will spend a little time with us, and we'll talk about the world of college football. And we're only a couple of weeks away from being there as well. Last comment. Kraft looking at this. With that, we're going to say goodbye. Keep that TGI Sports Talk.